to release my thoughts of trying to sing it perfectly, trying to sing it pretty. And I said, okay, let's roll it again while I'm not going to think. I'm just going to sing. And what happened for me as a singer, I sang it completely differently than I had before. I started out on notes that I had never used on this song before. And during it, I just allowed myself to go to that place and quit worrying about what I sounded like. And I got emotional during it. And I went there. And when it was done, I was like, oh. And there was silence again when it was over. And I thought, oh my God, if that's not it, And he said, we're done. And that's what we used on the record. It's not a perfect vocal track, but it's a real vocal track. Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the Back Catalog Listening Party, your weekly musical happy hour where musicians pick an album from their back catalog and tell the stories behind their favorite tracks in front of a live online audience.
This week we talk with Kansas City blues roots artist Kelley Hunt. Celebrating her 30th anniversary of making music, we look back on her 2014 album, The Beautiful Bones. Talk about embracing those magical studio moments and the incredible soulful ballad she wrote in just 15 minutes. So pour a beverage, grab a snack, and kick back as we listen to music together here on the Back Catalog Listening Party, where it's always Friday and old albums never sounded better. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
And welcome to the Back Catalog Listening Party. My name is Mother Banjo, one of your hosts.
My name is Anthony Ihrig, the other host.
And today we have joining us all the way, I believe, from Kansas City, Kelley Hunt.
Hi, everybody.
They are excited today. I can hear it.
Yes, it's that kind of week. And folks are joining in. Joe joining us. And he's very excited about talking about the Beautiful Bones album, which we're going to be chatting about today. Jane saying, hey, Kelley, sending all our love. And Alinda joining us from New Haven, Connecticut. And Connie from Richfield, Minnesota.
Hey, Connie.
Thank you for joining us. And we are so excited for our conversation with Kelley Hunt today. And this is our weekly musical happy hour where we invite our favorite guest artists to talk about one of their old records, go down memory lane with us, have a drink, have a chat. So if you are joining us for the live show, then tell us where you are tuned in from, if you're enjoying a beverage or a snack. And I can tell you I'm excited because especially with this cooler weather coming here in Minnesota, I'm breaking out the red wine tonight.
Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. So Kelley, what do you have in that container over there?
Well, I have the singer's friend. I have water and lots of it.
Excellent.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is what you need. Yeah.
Voice ready to go.
You bet.
And Tony.
I'm going back to the Athletic Brewing Company, who do these great NA beers. And this is the Free Wave Hazy IPA that I'm enjoying in my back catalog listening party pint glass. That are a little perk for our Patreon members out there. If you're out there and you have yours, and actually whatever you're drinking right now, cheers. Cheers to you, Kelley. Cheers to you, Ellen. Cheers to all of you out here. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, we are so excited. And we are so excited to have Kelley Hunt. I've been itching to get Kelley on the show for quite some time, and finally our stars aligned to make it happen. And for folks who are maybe less familiar with your music, Kelley, maybe you can give us the 2-minute origin story of like where you grew up and how you fell into making music, and maybe where this record fits into that.
Well, I grew up in Emporia, Kansas. I was born in Kansas City, and music was just the fabric of my childhood. My mother was a singer. My dad played upright bass in the Navy band, and music just inundated my life. And when I was 3, my folks got an old upright piano, and I just started playing by ear. And because of their record collection and of my brother and sister's record collection, I heard everything from jazz to country, to New Orleans, to blues, gospel, you name it, popular music, rock and roll. And I started writing my own songs when I was just a little girl, and I was more attracted to songwriting and having my hands on that piano than anything. So I jumped in and started playing in a band in high school, and went to University of Kansas as a music composition major. And the album we're going to listen to, cuts from tonight, has a lot of direct links to my origins. And
Nice.
it's wonderful being a songwriter and being able to realize the songs fully in a produced way. So it's a record I'm proud of. I'm glad we're going to go back and take a look at it.
Us
Excellent.
too.
Well, the album that we're going to revisit again is called The Beautiful Bones. It came out in 2014. And again, Joe is very excited for this. He said, damn, but The Beautiful Bones is some serious soul. For some reason, after a couple of listens, says I to myself, she's got to have recorded at Muscle Shoals. and then he goes, and yes, indeed. So it was. So we're going to talk all about that. So we're very excited to revisit, but let's get things started with a song.
I love it.
The first track that you picked to feature from the record is called Golden Hour. Is there anything you want to say before we take a listen?
Yes, this is a homage to a bunch of things that I listened to growing up, a big chunk of gospel and R&B, and the fabulous McCrary sisters came in and sang on this song. And we had never met in person, but when they got to the studio, we just clicked like that. And they ended up singing on several songs on the record. It's a song that I still do live, and I dig it, man.
All right. Well, we're excited too. And before we get into the song, you did share some pictures from the studio. So since we're about to hear their wonderful voices, I thought I'd let those of you who are watching the program today on YouTube or a replay. This is a shot from the studio, and we're going to be enjoying more shots like that throughout the episode. We've got some really great studio photos to share with you. But first, we're going to listen to what this album sounds like. This is going to be just the perfect way, I think, to kick off our show today. This is Kelley Hunt with The Golden Hour here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
From my glory days on that endless rugged road that tears your spirit down. Open up your eyes, stop yourself, look around. Don't you see what's right before you in the midst of agony? Something shining in the dirt, picking up glory's free. My glory days, oh my glory days. This is a golden hour before my glory days. My glory days, my glory days. This is the golden hour before my glory days. Oh, this is the golden hour, though it's covered in dust. There is no greater power than shaking off the husk. Never easy to lift up your broken dreams from the floor, to make a new mosaic. Let the healing waters pour. My glory days, my glory days. This is my golden hour before my glory days. Glory, glory days, my glory days. This is the golden hour before my glory days. Well, it all come down to this: the hurt, the loss, the pain. When you feel you can't go on and there's nothing left to gain. It's been years of trial and worry, believing in the dream, and nothing coming easy, but nothing's what it seems. My glory days, my glory, glory days. This is the golden hour before my glory days. My glory days, my glory days. The golden hour before my glory days. What are you made of? before my glory days. I said the glory days, oh, glory days. This is the golden hour before my glory days.
All right, Kelley Hunt with Golden Hour, the perfect way to kick off this hour of music and conversation here on the Back Catalog Listening
Yeah.
Party.
If that didn't get you moving, I don't know
What?
what will. That was wonderful, Kelley.
It was like body moving and soul stirring both at the same time in equal measure, which is totally my jam.
Yeah, and you could hear it emanating from the studio. There was a couple points where I could just hear it in your voice, just like what you were feeling that song.
I was, yeah.
Maybe surrounded with the McCrary sisters. Were you guys doing that together live, or did they come in later and
they came in and sang to it? Now I was there, obviously there with them when they came in, and whoa, it just meshed like crazy. And we recorded the song. I recorded the song live with all the core players. I sang and played, and I think I may have on some of the vocals on the album. A lot of times I'm singing live while I'm playing, and sometimes I'll go back and do alternative live vocals on it too. But you're really right, Tony. We were feeling it.
Yeah. I'm lucky enough to be listening to the high res audio files. We'll always make a plug throughout this show that you got to get the high res digital files or get the CD, and we'll talk more about that. But you hear all these little nuances, and if you're listening closely, you can just hear it in your voice that there was a lot of expression in there going on. And where did the inspiration for recording this tune come from for you?
The inspiration for recording the song, well, I think it was a direct correlation to my roots, which is, like Mavis Staples, staple singers, gospel piano playing, Johnny Johnson piano playing. And I just think the vibe and the soul of the song was reflective of what we were going for. A common thread throughout this album is celebratory, and it's also a real direct look at what's happening in our inner world and our outer world as well. So this song seemed like kind of a celebration, and also just a reminder to ourselves and others. Hey, if not now, when? What are we doing? Let's do it. So,
and was there something in your life going on that, like, this really does seem like you're just ready for these glory days. Was there, you mentioned the personal piece.
Yeah. And I think with every album that I've recorded over the years, there's a growth element to all of it. And what my hope is as an artist, as a songwriter, as a musician, I want a trajectory to be reflected in the growth. And there was a different kind of, I think the more life experience you have, the more freedom you can choose to have in how you express yourself. And this song is one of those that I said, I'm just going to throw down, and because really, I felt this really deeply lately, if not now, when?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the whole album was a really true reflection of what was happening at that time in my life, which was a burst of energy and ready to rock. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I also, whenever we take a listen to the songs here on the Back Catalog Listening Party, those who are watching the YouTube version will know that we are looking at the album art while we listen. And I was really struck by it in that particular song, the golden hour, with this sort of like lone tree and this, I don't know if it's a desert scape or a moonscape almost vibe, with that kind of like either morning or evening glow kind of to the sky. I don't know if that's what you envisioned when you were coming up with this album cover, or if this was in your mind when you wrote the song, but it somehow felt very reflective of that.
Well, that's a really astute observation, because where we live is on kind of south of the town of Lawrence, Kansas. And every morning we get these spectacular sunrises, and almost every evening, I look out and see the sun that is shining on this beautiful area of trees out where we live. And I always called it golden light. And I think the album cover is also, again, just a reflection of that, amount of awe. And let's notice the beauty in our world, whether the tree is barren or it's awash with leaves, or whether it's a desert or it's a prairie or the mountains. There is beauty everywhere. And so I think it's all, just a reflection again of the inner and the outer beauty. Let's just notice it. Let's celebrate it.
I love that. And who did the artwork? Is this a photograph? Is this a painting? It's hard to tell.
There's an artist group out of Austin, um, uh, two women, wonderful artist women who did this, and I can't call their name, but I'll get it for you here before we're done. I know that they have a wonderful company. They've won Grammys for their artwork, and obviously, they did us right.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure to get the name and the link and stuff, and we'll put that in the show notes. You can find all that, including the images. If you're just listening, you'll want to check out this album cover and all the great studio pictures. You just go to backcataloglisteningparty.com.
That's right. And if you just joined us for the Back Catalog Listening Party, Kelley Hunt is our guest, joining us from Kansas City. And Jim says, "Hey, Kel, love you."
Hey, Jim.
And we have a bunch of other folks, Joanne and Belinda and Chris, all joining us. And if you just joined us, again, this is a happy hour. It's meant to be interactive. So tell us where you're tuned in from. If you have questions for Kelley, we'll weave them into the conversation and get to as many as we can. So whether it's about some of the songs or just about her work in general, feel free to throw them in there and we will get to as many as we can. And I love starting off with that song with the McCrary sisters. We were talking at the very top of the show, we were talking about where it was recorded. And tell us a little bit more about that. Joe kind of gave it away, some Muscle Shoals roots, but tell us a little bit about where you recorded it.
Well, that was recorded in Nashville, Tennessee, at a studio called 16 Ton. Now, I want to tell Joe that I have recorded at Muscle Shoals before, but not this particular album. My roots run deep in the South there. But yeah, this was 16 Ton Studio, and a wonderful, one of our favorite engineers, Michael Esser, and you'll see him as you're looking at the screen on your far right. That's Michael. And we had just a wonderful time with him. He's not only technically great, but he's a soulful guy and has a command of how to make things smooth, easy, and raise the bar in the studio. So that's where we were. And there's the core group right there. Would you want me to identify these?
Yeah, that'd be great if you could let us know who they are and what they played. That'd be
wonderful. Well, starting on the left, that's Tim Marks on bass. Tim plays with everybody. Has done so many albums, I can't even list them all, including Taylor Swift and every kind of music from A to Z. Then there's me. And then next is a wonderful soulful roots drummer, Brian Owings. And Brian has played with lots of, Emmylou Harris and Shelby Lynn, and the list goes on and on. But he's also on a couple of previous albums of mine, one of my go-to drummers for this type of music that I write and play. And then we have Mark Jordan on B3. And Mark Jordan, some of you may have heard him way back in the day playing on Van Morrison Tupelo Honey album.
Wow.
Among
a lot of people have heard that.
Delbert McClinton. I mean, Bonnie Raitt. He toured with Bonnie Raitt for many years and recorded with her. He's one of my favorite B3 players. He did some touring with me. And last but certainly not least, on guitar, the big, tall drink of water there, that's John Jackson. And John toured for many years with Bob Dylan, Shelby Lynn. And he was kind enough to come out and tour with me for many months after we released, after Beautiful Bones was released. And I got to tell you, it was a blast. And these are top-notch players. They're friends. And I felt like I was in musician heaven doing this. Yes.
Well, it looks like it too. And like I said, we'll link to this in the show notes, but we've got to we might as well cycle through these since they're the studio shots.
There's John.
Working on some guitar parts, and we have a shot here of Kelley singing into a beautiful looking microphone there. That's the kind of thing that gets my pulse racing.
Yep.
And this looks like maybe a shot from maybe something that was actually happening while you were recording. What's the story here?
Well, that's actually, I'm going over music. That looks like Brian Owens, the drummer, and we're just talking about what's happening and kind of the feel that I'm looking for on the spot. So no, we weren't cutting at that time. We were just trying to make it happen. There's the fabulous McCrae sisters,
who we heard. Yeah. Well, you know what you mentioned, kind of talking things over with the drummer about, how things are going. I always love to ask artists like what their process is with arrangement. It's like such another piece of the puzzle. You got the writing and then you got the engineering, but like to put those two things together, you can really do anything with like, how should it start? How should it stop? Where should the solos go? Is that something that you are doing yourself, or is that something that you kind of bring to the ensemble that you're performing with?
Well, it's a combination of both. I mean, I'm my own music director, both for live performance and in the studio. I've co-produced not all, but most of our records with my business partner and manager, Al Berman. We make a great team. I want to talk more about him in a little bit. But what I do is we get all the musicians together. We filter through the songs. We generally, Al and I, have a specific trajectory for what we want the album to be and what songs we're going to put on it. And then we generally record more than we need. And there are a lot of surprises in the studio that happen. In this case, for Beautiful Bones, we got together a day or so before with everybody, musicians, and they could map out their own charts. I could be specific, play live. We could be specific about feel, arrangements that I had in mind. When we get in the studio, that is that's kind of like the map that we go from. But listen, I'm not a drummer. I'm not a B3 player. But I know I have a clear idea of what I want. And these guys are brought in so they can bring their specific feel, their ideas to it. They can elevate things in a surprising way. Even, as a matter of fact, on Golden Hour, which is a great example of this, I played the song. Everybody had their charts, and we were running it in the studio, and it didn't have the right feel. And John Jackson on guitar, he said, "What do Kel? What are you looking for here?" And I said, honestly, I just want to take it back to Mavis Staples, and I need to let go of this other structure I had in mind. I love the song. It's not working. And he sat down and he played that do 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 do. Play that for me, and I went, okay, let's try it. Ran in, tried it, and that's what you heard.
Nice.
It morphed right before our very eyes. So it's a combination of preparation, arrangement, and being open to the moment and having the right people in the room who can bring something more to it.
Yeah. So like the song found itself in the end.
It sure did. Yes, it did.
The Back Catalog Listening Party is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. Supporting the show with small and large donations every month, this committed group of music lovers keep the party going and enjoy special perks like getting first look at our upcoming guests and invitations to private after parties and live stream performances with the artists. If you'd like to learn how you can become a patron of the show, please visit patreon.com/backcataloglisteningparty. Nice.
And you were saying earlier, obviously piano is your main instrument. But do you ever, I know you had a B3 player in here. Do you ever, play on other keyboards in the studio? Are you like a purist about like, I want a piano sound on everything?
Well, it's mostly piano, but in other records I've played like a little whirly, an old, a really old Wurlitzer. And on this record, this is the first record I've ever played any guitar on. Now, granted, it was rhythm guitar, it was acoustic guitar, and I've got a story about that later on one of the cuts we're going to listen to tonight. So, and live I play a digital keyboard so I can get whatever sounds I want, but it's mostly just an acoustic piano sound, or I'm playing some rhythm guitar live. I can play a little bass. I can play very, very limited B3. But my primary instrument is piano.
And does that am I right in thinking then that you write all your songs on the piano, or do you occasionally go to one of these other instruments just for kicks to see what else comes out?
I'd say probably 85% of what I write is on piano because that's what I'm really comfortable with. I'm not as limited on, but the title cut to the album was written on an acoustic guitar, and I have other songs, coming up in the future that have been written on guitar. Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I think it's time for some more music,
Yeah.
so we can dig more into that. This is called "Let It Rain." Is there anything you want to say about this before we take a listen?
Yeah, I co-wrote this with the former poet laureate of our state of Kansas, Karen Miriam Goldberg. She's one of my favorite co-writers. I don't always write with other writers, but when I do, it's a really soulful experience. She and I wrote this song during a really terrible drought here in Kansas. And again, it's kind of a reflection of inner and outer life. And many times when we write, I'll take the piece home to my house and, fiddle with it a little bit on piano. While I was doing that in my house, I could hear thunder
Mm.
Mm.
and rain started to happen. And it was just kind of took my breath away.
Wow. That's really
Yeah.
special. This is Kelley Hunt, Let It Rain, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
You felt broken all along. Your failures cut you to the bone. But listen to me. You think you have nothing to give. The well is empty, no reason to live. But you have everything you need. It is all given to you. Now who will you give it to? Pass it on, pay it forward, let it rain. Let it rain, rain, rain. Though someone betrayed you, drained you dry, open your arms and trust the sky and be everything you were meant to be. Step outside, reach out your hand, pour the water on this parched, dry land, and give everything until you are free. It was all given to you, and now who will you give it to? Pass it on, pay it forward, let it rain. Let it rain forward, let it rain down, let the healing water soak the sacred ground. let it rain, rain, rain.
Kelley Hunt with Let It Rain from her 2014 album, The Beautiful Bones, which we are revisiting today with Kelley Hunt joining us live from her home in Kansas City. And man, that tune, what a moving prayer is what it felt like to me, not just for
Mm-hmm.
rain, but for the world, and
Mm-hmm.
really beautiful stuff.
Forward
Thank
and
you.
backward. I love that line. That's a
And
good one.
I was writing down all kinds of lines in this. It's such beautiful writing, but I love the part about opening up and trusting the sky, especially given what you said before we started taking a listen, that right as you were, working on the song, you heard the rain was coming. How much of the song had you written when you heard that rain coming, or was the song already kind of baked?
The song was almost fully realized. There was the music, some of the music part of it was um, not quite there yet. And I was working on the arrangement.
Mm.
So we kind of had the bones of it, and I was just kind of fiddling around with it at home. And then when I started playing through it, that's when I heard it, and I just went, oh. And I called Karen and I said, "Hold up, you hear this?" Yeah, that's what
That's a,
happened.
that's
Yeah.
I
amazing.
love that.
How do you bring your songs to like a band, like your studio band? Do you send them the demos ahead of time, or do you play them for them live, or how does that work?
Well, it's been done different ways, but I found that it's most effective if we get together and I play it for them live. And then I already have an arrangement in mind. And many times I have road tested these songs on the road before I bring them to the studio. Not always, but many times I have. So they can get a feel for it, make their own charts of, however they need them in whatever form. And they can bring their own ideas to it. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want a fully formed anything sent to them, unless it's just like a piano vocal that might streamline our process. But I can't think of a time that I've done a record where we all haven't gotten together at least a day or so before and had a chance to digest it, think about it, see what ideas came up.
Nice.
Yeah.
And when you go into the studio, is it usually for a pretty finite amount of time, like you were in Nashville? So you're like, do you have the studio just set up for like a week, or do you go back and forth a bit over a period of time, or do you like to condense it?
Well, that's varied with different records. With Beautiful Bones, I think we got almost everything recorded, got it down on, tape and digital, combination of both within a couple, 2.5 or 3 weeks. I'm trying to remember what it was. So we got all the moving parts recorded. And then there was, of course, the mixing. And then there was, the mastering, all those things, and the artwork and everything else that comes with it. But the core things, we generally have a pretty good idea of what our timeline is, and we're well prepared to get in there. I'm not doing any writing in the studio. It has happened. It has popped in now and then, but that's not my norm. I'm actively, especially before the pandemic, actively touring and testing songs out and writing. So I'm showing up ready to roll. But that helps keep my energy up without the pressure. And the people that are brought in specifically for, specific set of songs, they're not only up to the task, but they're elevating the music.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Well, the music feels pretty elevating to me,
Oh,
and
Yeah.
folks loving it. Ms. B was saying, "Let It Rain" gets me every time I take it in.
Yeah.
And Connie says, "Wonderful." So folks are really digging it. And if you are digging it and you're listening out there, you can throw something in Kelley Hunt's tip jar. We have a Venmo there, Kelley-Hunt-12. Don't forget that Kelley
That's right.
Hunt. And also, you can get this album. We were earlier, Tony was mentioning the high res files and how wonderful and nuanced the recording is. And if you want all those layers and the sound of that great piano and all the vocals, and you want to reach that golden hour, then definitely you want to get a copy of this album. You can get the high-res digital files if you listen that way at kelleyhunt.com, or you can order a physical copy as well. So a great way to support Kelley Hunt and her music. And I know, the holidays are coming up. So you also have a really amazing holiday record, which has been on constant rotation for me ever since it came out, called Winter Solstice, putting the soul in solstice.
SOUL. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Tell us a little bit about that and what other kinds of things you have coming up.
Well, the Winter Solstice album was something I've been wanting to do for a long, long time. And it's a combination of songs that I grew up hearing that mean something to me, and holiday Christmas songs, and also 3 of my own songs on there as well that have to do with the season of renewal in any way that anybody celebrates it. And it was an exciting project to do. I'm really proud of it. And we had a fun bunch of album release concerts around it. And 'tis the season coming up.
Yeah.
So many times there will be songs on it people recognize, and there's some that they haven't. And so, so that came out in 22. And then after the first of the year, we were preparing to do the next album. That is still being formulated, in process. I've written a bunch of things that are all being seriously considered and road tested for it. So 2025, new album coming your way.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And to stay on top of all of that, go to kelleyhunt.com and find her on the social places as well. And also performing a lot live. And we're going to talk more about that coming up. But let's get to that next song so we can get more of that soul-stirring music. And this next one is Release and Be Free. Is there anything you want to say about this one?
There is, actually. This is a song that I had that was, fully formed, ready to go. I had a wonderful experience in the studio. I decided to go back and cut some alternate vocals to it. And when Al Berman and we co-produced this album, and we both have different strengths. And one of his strengths is knowing when I've really given a performance that is the best one. So I went in there, it was in the evening, I cut the song, I sang it. I thought I did it pretty well, and I thought I did it fine. And as soon as I was done, there was silence from the control room. And I just take a breath. And it's an intense song. And Al said, well, he said something like, that was good, but I didn't feel it. And he said, one of the things he inspired me to do was not be so careful and worry about the technical side of singing, technically one way or the other. And I just had to step back and take a breath because I thought I'd nailed it, but he was right. And so it took me a moment to let go, really, to release, as oddly as that sounds, to release my thoughts of trying to sing it perfectly, trying to sing it pretty. And I said, okay, let's roll it again while I'm not going to think, I'm just going to sing. And what happened for me as a singer, I sang it completely differently than I had before. I started out on notes that I had never used on this song before. And during it, I just allowed myself to go to that place and quit worrying about what I sounded like. And I got emotional during it. And I went there. And when it was done, I was like, oh. And there was silence again when it was over. And I thought, oh my God, if that's not it, And he said, we're done. And that's what we used on the record. It's not a perfect vocal track, but it's a real vocal track.
I love that so much. Thanks for sharing that. That's the kind of stuff that I love being able to put songs in context. And I think everybody out there listening right now is going to be listening for that emotion and listening for that real Kelley Hunt. This is Release and Be Free on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
I believe I haven't carried this burden long enough. to lay down, 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 and rise up. Lay down and rise up, that I may walk a lighter path, yeah, and see a clearer way, and be unafraid to face a brand new day, and sing my truest song, and know just what it is to release and be free. Calling to my soul. They're saying it's time. Oh, it's time to listen. Oh, time to bless them and let them go. Bless them and let them go. I may walk a lighter path, and I may see a clearer way, and be unafraid to face a brand new day. Sing my truest song, and know just what it is to release and be free. Oh, may you walk a lighter path. May you see a clearer way. Oh, may you be unafraid, unafraid to face a brand new day. Come on, sing, sing, sing your truest song, and know just what it is to release and be free. Come on, walk on, oh, and see a clearer way, and release and be free.
Wow.
Yeah. I think Al was spot on the money. That was the vocal take right there.
Yeah, it surprised me, you know.
That was amazing. Kelley Hunt here on the back catalog listening party. The name of that song was Release and Be Free from her 2014 album, The Beautiful Bones, which we are revisiting today with Kelley Hunt joining us from Kansas City. And Jane says, I love that story. And Al was right. Incredible. Susan says, beautiful. Alinda says, love Kelley's voice. Yeah, just really, really great stuff. And if you want to absorb more of this great stuff, we're just only going to get to listen to probably maybe like 4 tracks of this amazing record. Then you'll definitely want to get the high-res digital files or order the physical copy at kelleyhunt.com. That's Kelley Hunt.com. And Belinda put in a little plug. She said, I have the album. In fact, I have several of Kelley's albums. So much talent. Well, I think we all know that from hearing even these tracks today together. And Release and Be Free. And this tune, like so many, like the ones we've heard today, are really, there's such a spiritual component to your music, not just that the vibe and that sort of gospel influence, but the actual lyrical content of the songs. And, earlier you were talking about sort of renewal and there's a spiritual component. Um, that seems to weave throughout a lot of your songs, not just on this record. But was that a particular theme you were revisiting on this album?
You know, actually, I think the theme that I was taking a look at with this album was, I think, kind of what I said before, if not now, when?
Mm-hmm.
And taking a look at both the inner and outer landscape, and also kind of keeping in mind how are we taking care of ourselves, how are we taking care of our psyches, how are we taking care of our earth, this planet that we live on. And the title song was complete inspiration for that. And so as we filtered through the songs to put on the album, each one has their own thread of continuity that leads to those themes. And so, yeah. And again, obviously, this was musically an homage to some of the gospel that I grew up listening to and still love and am so moved by both as a piano player and a singer. And I, obviously went for it.
And now do you sing that song like the recorded version now that you kind of like, you said you had sung it differently before you got in the studio, laid this out, and this is that now the version?
I've certainly tried to a lot. Yes. Yeah. Actually, it kind of freed me up in the studio when Al helped me, to get to that point. And so it certainly freed me up live to do the same. And that's how I try to sing it every night. Best I can.
The Back Catalog Listening Party is brought to you by EFS Publicity. Founded by veteran publicist, promoter, DJ, and musician Ellen Stanley, EFS brings an artist's perspective to the table, working to help clients get to the next level in their career. Services include national and international media campaigns, radio promotions, tour press, crowdfunding, grant writing, and more. Get a quote or set up a consultation today at efspublicity.com. Excellent. Well, speaking of live performances, I think a lot of folks out there listening, especially hearing what you're saying about road testing the songs and how you approach performance and really starting out as a live performer, folks are probably itching to see you play. And if you go to kelleyhunt.com, you can check out the full tour schedule. I know you're always very busy and you'll have some of those holiday things coming up. But also for folks who are tuned into the live show, you have a big show coming up on November 9th, celebrating your 30 years, your 30th anniversary of making music since your first record came out. Special hometown show in Kansas City. What can you tell us about this big gig?
Well, it's Saturday, November 9th. It's in Lawrence, Kansas, very close to Kansas City, at the Lawrence Arts Center. And it is, I'm coming home, and celebrating 30 years. And people can come to see it live. It's a limited number of tickets for the live theater there, but they can also get live stream tickets, which I'm so excited about because we have fans all over all over the globe. And I'd love for people to join me on that. And we're going to be telling some stories. There are going to be some images. There's going to be all kinds of live music. And it's going to be a very special, meaningful night to me. And so they can go to kelleyhunt.com and get more info about it. And I'm super excited about it. And to look back and think it's been 30 years since the first self-titled album came out, it's kind of mind-blowing. And I'm so encouraged because I'm nowhere near the finish line and I have projects coming up, and I'm grateful to still be doing this and have every intention of doing it for a long, long time.
Excellent.
That's great. And do you know if this live stream will be something people could watch after the fact too, if in case this podcast comes out after November 9th, 2024?
I don't know. That's a great question. And hopefully we can find out and send that answer to you.
Right on. Well, if you're hearing this before that, then definitely go to kelleyhunt.com and get either your physical tickets or your live stream tickets, because that's going to be a good one.
Yes, indeed. And We know a lot of our regulars here, a lot of our Patreon supporters are into the live streams, and those are the folks joining us today for the live taping, and are so excited for any opportunity to hear our guests perform live and talk about their music. And this is a great opportunity to thank our Patreon supporters. These are the folks that have kept the show going for over 4 years, and now this podcast version of the show. And if you would like to join this mighty crew and get invites to these live tapings and interact with our guests, then you can join the Patreon community and join Penny, Anna, Linda, Bevan, Connie, Vaughn, Alan, Chris, Alex, Becky, Peggy, Joe, Jim, Beverly, John, Fred, Tim, Sarah, David, Jocelyn, Matt, Steve, Mark, Homestead Pick and Parlor, Severin, Lynn, Mary, Nikki, Joni, David, CJ, Wiley, Stephanie, Christy, Diane, Hetty, Sandy, and neighbor Ann. And maybe you, if you want to join the party, go to patreon.com/back catalog listening party. Find out how you can get involved. And when you join at any level, then you can get invites to these live tapings and get, while supplies last.
That's right. Back catalog listening party pint class. And I got to say, this is, we were talking about this before the episode. This is my favorite hour of the week. It's an hour dedicated to just listening to music. How often do we do that these days? And then also having conversations with independent artists that are pouring their heart and soul into these things and being able to bounce this stuff off of our live audience. I mean, this is a really special community. And I just want to thank everybody out there who's listening and participating, all your comments and everything. It's why this is my favorite hour every week.
It is. And hearing these songs, as I was mentioning, they're really inspiring and moving. And as one of our previous guests, and actually someone who lives not too far from you, Alexa Dawson, says, music heals.
Yeah.
So
music is medicine.
That's right.
Music exactly is medicine.
Right. Yeah, that's what
I have one of Alexa's hats on right now. Yeah.
Well, thank you all so much for tuning in. We have and Joni says a lovely album. Thank you so much. And thank you, Joni, for tuning in. And we are going to make sure we get to at least one more song. And while we do, if you are joining us for the live show, then feel free to throw in your last minute comments or questions to make sure we get to as many as we can before we close off this happy hour. This last song we're going to listen to is the title track, The Beautiful Bones. Is there anything you want to say about this?
You know, this song was such a surprise. We recorded the album in February, and in December, I was gifted a Christmas present, a surprise present from my husband, Al, and my friends, Jane. And I was just, my mind was blown. Jane and Lee, they gave me this beautiful Taylor guitar. And so we'd had a blizzard, and I was sitting in the kitchen looking out the window at our big silver maple tree, and there were no leaves on it. It was actually bare, which is kind of reflected in the album cover. And the snow was on the ground, and I was just noodling around on this new to me guitar, and this song just came out. It's not my MO to write a song so quickly, but it was written in 15 minutes. Al had been out, I think, shoveling snow, and when he came in, I said, I don't know where this came from, but listen to this. And I played it for him on this guitar, and we just looked at each other and we went, that's the title of the album. And this was just weeks before we went in. And again, I'd never played guitar on any of my albums. I took that particular one, and I did the rhythm part and it was just, again, another one of those gifts that happens as a songwriter. So looking out at bare branches and seeing the beauty of that, and being mindful of taking care of our world, both outer and inner, and it all came together after that.
Oh, wow. All right. Let's give this a listen, folks. This is Kelley Hunt, The Beautiful Bones, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
What do we do with this truth and these tears? What will we see through our sorrow? cannot fear when worry gathers to us like broken souvenirs. The beautiful bones of the world we live in, the beautiful bones of the land we love, like bearing branches on a cold, clear morning. We take shelter in the beautiful bones. All that we cherish will dissolve and melt away. All decoration and adornment will decay. What are we left with when we cannot find our way? The beautiful bones of the world we live in, the beautiful bones of the land that we love, like the barren branches on a cold, clear morning. We take comfort from the beautiful bones. Beautiful bones. Beneath every warning that is whispered in our ears, underneath the elegance of the life that we hold dear, beneath everything, has always been here. Ah, the beautiful bones of the world we live in, the beautiful bones of the land we love, like the barren branches on a cold, clear morning. We all come from the beautiful, the beautiful bones. We all come from the beautiful bones.
Awesome. Kelley Hunt with The Beautiful Bones, the title track to her 2014 release, which we have been revisiting today on the back catalog listening party with Kelley Hunt joining us live from Kansas City. Ah,
Ah,
I can't believe you wrote that in 15 minutes.
no,
Songwriters
divine
everywhere are like,
inspiration
what?
right there. Yeah, that's special. You were a conduit for something there, because it's
Yeah.
wow, what a great message. And
Thank you.
yeah, as we go into this, it's turning fall here. The leaves are falling down, and winter's coming, and we have political season approaching, and all of these things. Like, this kind of music helps put things into perspective for me, and I sure appreciate you sharing this art with us tonight, Kelley. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thanks for having me. It's fun for me to get to go back and listen to these things too. So thanks.
Oh, this is such a treat. Folks are loving it. Connie says, what a wonderful show. Great music. Thank you. Jane says, hauntingly beautiful. Chris says, always a great show. Thanks, Kelley. And yes, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us and go down memory lane and share these beautiful beautiful stories and the bones of these songs. So great.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity, guys.
And make sure to check out Kelley Hunt's music at kelleyhunt.com. That's with an E, Kelley, hunt.com. And you can find info about upcoming shows. You can get a copy of this album and her wonderful catalog, including that holiday album and all that good stuff. Sign up for the email list and make sure you know what's happening with Kelley Hunt. And if you want to know more about what's happening here at Back Catalog Listening Party, you can subscribe to the podcast. You can, and our YouTube. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram because we do this every week, getting together with our favorite guest artists, talking about records. And if you want to be invited to those live tapings, join our Patreon community. And you can find out more at backcataloglisteningparty.com.
Yeah, well, thanks everybody for being here tonight. Once again, Kelley, thank you so much for sharing this. I sure can't wait for your big concert. Congratulations again, 30 years. It's such a big accomplishment, and I mean, I really believe independent music is what keeps the world going round. So we appreciate what you do. Keep doing your thing, and everybody else out there, thanks again for joining us, and keep supporting great independent music like Kelley's. And we'll see you back here next week on the Back Catalog Listening Party. Cheers!
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 Thanks for joining us on the Back Catalog Listening Party. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review, which helps more people discover our show and our guests.
And do you want to be a part of the live show, get a first look at upcoming guests, and receive invites to private online parties and live streams? Then join our Patreon community at backcataloglisteningparty.com.
Have a great week. We'll see you back here next Friday for another edition of the Back Catalog Listening Party.